Scrooge Jones, Interviews in Nature with Azar Nafisi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Azar Nafisi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So we're here to talk about your book, Reading Lolita in Tehran. So first off, I see that you're not wearing your traditional Muslim clothing. So, and I know that you are a Muslim woman, so can you explain this?
Well, I'm not devout of a Muslim enough, and it's not my choice to wear the robe and the scarf and veil all the time. So I think of it kind of as a pleasure in America that we're not forced to wear it like we were in Iran. So that's why I'm dressed like this.
Okay, so let's get to talking about your book, which spans from topics like a book group that you started back when you were a teacher in Iran to the Iranian Revolution and the Iran-Iraq War. So could you give us a brief summary of what you're talking about in your book?
Well, I start off by talking about my book group and just giving examples of what we talk about every day and the people who are in it. And then I move on to talk about just where I came from, and that means like my studying in America to my teaching at the University of Tehran. Then the revolution starts, and I talk about how that affected us. And I was really just thinking about making sure that the reader gets a full understanding of what it was like to live in Tehran at that time.
Alright, so let's start by talking about your book club. So what type of books did you read?
Well, we read mostly English and American literature classics, including Lolita, The Great Gatsby, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and just things along that line.
So how did you choose what books you were going to read?
Well, my main point was to choose books that weren't supported by the government. I mean, at that time they were banned, so these women couldn't find them other places. So it was their opportunity to read Western classics, and I chose them based on the lessons that I had taught when I was a teacher, and also my personal preference. And I also chose things that would help them understand their lives and what was going on.
So how did all of these books tie into your lives and the Iranian culture?
They, like other works of fiction, really started the questioning of what was around us, and as we read them, we were able to look at what was happening to the characters in those books and take their point of view and then take our point of view and put them together to see how we were being affected, whether we knew it or not.
That's very interesting. But in your book club, did you discuss anything with these women besides just the books you were reading?
Yeah, as we got more comfortable with each other, they started bringing their personal lives and their personal opinions into our discussions, not as much related to the books, like what they thought of Iran and the revolution, and their thoughts on the things that had been banned. And pretty soon, we all really understood each other and each other's lives, and we knew what each person was going through this whole time.
So since you didn't only talk about your book club in your books, I think it's important to talk about your own life. And I know that you were influenced by some time that you spent in America. I know that you went to college and got your graduate degree there. So how was your experience as a student in America different than your teaching experience in Iran?
The main part that was different, even though in America there are a lot of student groups, the main thing is that we all had a very distinct opinion, and it didn't even have to include America. Like, I was part of a group that was really involved with Iran and what was going on there. And also, just the freedom of ideas, and everywhere you looked, people were just doing their own thing. But then, when I was teaching in Iran, I really noticed that as a teacher, I really was told what I could teach about, and it was really restricted. And the students, they had such different lives. Like, everything was really restricted, and I just didn't feel as free there in Tehran.
Well, sounds like there's a storm coming, so we'll have to cut this short. But I am Scrooge Jones, and this is Interviews in Nature.